watching another episode of Light and Darkness here on ABN, where we're looking at parables on sacrifice in servanthood and what that means. And we're looking at the third parable today, a favorite parable of mine, on the two builders, based on Luke chapter 6, verse 46 through 49. And it reads, "But why do you call me Lord, Lord, and not do the things which I say? Whoever comes to me and hears my sayings and does them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. And when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently against that house and could not shake it, for it was founded on the rock. But he who heard and did nothing is like a man who built a house on the earth without a foundation, against which the stream beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great." And the reason why I like this, because it really simplifies what it means to rely on God. So there are these two houses. There are these two builders. There's one who builds his house on the sand, and then there's another builder who builds his house on the rock. And of course, a storm comes, and when the storm comes, the storm wipes out the first house because the foundation is built on sand, and it's not going to withstand or outlast this storm. But the second house is being built on the rock, and the rock can withstand any storm that comes its way. And of course, we know that the rock represents Jesus, and the rock represents the Word of God, and the rock represents that which will outlast any house that's built on the sand. But what's interesting here is that when the first man was building his house and the second man is building his house, I'm sure the first man built his house and looked at the second man. And the second man, when he was building his house, looked at the first man. And they're looking at each other, and the one who is building his house on the sand is asking the one who's building his house on the rock, "Why are you building your house on the rock? My house has bricks, and my house is being built on with the best materials and the best windows and the best roof. And look, all of my workers are very strong. And look at my land, and it looks great and everything. And why are you wasting your time building on the rock? That's going to take a lot more time when it's really unnecessary. What are you doing?" And the one who's building his house on the rock probably said something like, "It doesn't matter how your bricks look or how strong your workers are or how beautiful your windows are or the interior design of your house, but look at your foundation. You might want to reconsider, because your foundation today may be a beautiful day, but the day that a storm comes, your house is not going to withstand or outlast this storm, because the foundation is sand, and any storm, any small storm, can come and wash it away." And so I'm sure that they had some dialogue if these two builders were building next to each other. But Jesus, of course, is saying here that do not be tempted to build your house on the sand. Do not be tempted to build your house on the pleasures of this life. Do not be tempted to give in to the short-term pleasures that this world tempts us with, or this world tries to entice us with and draw us in with, because that's not going to withstand or outlast any storm. But instead, be persistent. Instead, be committed. Instead, stand firm in your faith and build your house on a foundation that will outlast any storm, any size storm. We're not talking about a small storm. We're talking about the biggest storm that you can think of will not be able to bring this house down. The house will not flinch when this storm comes to pass, because its foundation is built on rock. And so it's a question for us again today, whether we call ourselves followers of Christ or we do not call ourselves followers of Christ. What is our house built on? What are our hopes built on? What are our dreams built on? What is it that we are after, that we believe that really our security comes from? And is that security, or is that future, or is that dream or plan or goal, is it built on sand, or is it built on rock? And the good news is that if it's built on the sand, it can be, spiritually, can be switched from sand to rock very easily. And as soon as you switch from the sand to the rock, then your future is stamped in eternity. Then your future has created an unshakable foundation. Then your future has become brighter and better and stronger and unconquerable in comparison with the future that you had when your house was built on the sand. So again, it's an opportunity for us, as we hear this parable and as we hear what Jesus is trying to tell us, and look at it and examine our own lives and examine, what decisions we've taken, what decisions we're taking, and what decisions that we will take in order to be able to look at whether our house is currently built on the sand versus whether our house is built on the rock. Thanks for joining me here on Light and Darkness.